Welcome back to week 2 of staying consistent with YouTube and week 3 of our 75 hard social media challenge. Now let's be real, I have my handy dandy iPad next to me because if I don't, I won't remember what I'm supposed to be talking about because my memory is not that of an octopus, it is that of a goldfish. Okay? Before we really dive in here, I am going to talk about why I originally started this, what this challenge is for me, and which I know I talked about a little bit last week, but then we'll dive into what the challenge actually is, all the rules, and how I'm actually staying consistent and what's working and what's not working. So let's get to it. So at this point, I hope that you've grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, and if not, I hope you have like your iPad or a computer or something to take notes, or maybe you're just that good and have the memory of an octopus. Let's dive in. So I will go over the rules in just a minute. However, what I'm going to do is talk to you about why I started this, what I think is going to be the hardest parts of this. Then I'll talk about the rules, and then we'll get into what's working and what's not working. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is why I started this. I think I talked a little bit about this in my last video last week, but the real reason I wanted to start doing this is because I wanted to start showing up consistently online. 1, and 2, I wanted to be that bitch online. I have a Pinterest board called That Girl, and most of it is me traveling. And I do say me because every time I see those pictures on my Pinterest board about girls that are like off in the mountains, camping, hiking, off on a first class flight somewhere, some way, doing whatever it is they're doing, that's when I am like, that's me. That's not whoever's actually in that picture, that's me. I put myself there. So I wanted to be, and I will be, that girl. I will be. The board is literally named That Girl with the caps and all the little cute little stars next to it because I will be that girl. I will be the girl that gets to do all the fun things that I see everybody else doing on social media. That's not just for anybody else. That is also for me. Now, for those of you that don't know, there are a lot of rules around making money online, which, if we're all being honest, I think that the biggest part of this is freedom to do what we want, but with that freedom comes being able to have the money to have the freedom that we want. So I think a big part of us having that freedom is being able to make money online, whether it is from sitting on our couches or having conversations with friends because we're doing a podcast, or talking about brands that we actually truly love and now we just get paid for it. Whatever it is, why we're showing up online, I think the end goal is freedom. And with that end goal comes money as well to enjoy said freedoms. And there are so many ways to make money online. I'm going to list them right here that I just wrote down, but these are not all of them. I know that there are AdSense for YouTube, there's the Creator Marketplace for Instagram, there's the Creator Fund for TikTok, there's some other kind of thing on here from YouTube I wrote, but I think that's the same thing as the AdSense. Maybe not. Maybe it is the Creator Fund for YouTube. I don't fully understand YouTube and how to get paid yet, but I'm working on figuring that out. So as we figure it out and what I learn, I'll post more about it. But there's other ways to make money, and those other ways, other than just being paid by a platform, say, such as like Threads also does some sort of, what do I want to call it? Like creator fund, I guess. It's very similar, but it's so many, each one of these, I shouldn't say just Threads, each one of these, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, they all have a specific amount that you have to hit, whether that amount is via views, via followers, via watch hours, via partnerships, whatever the requirement is, they all have different ones. So whatever platform my suggestion is that you're going to grow on, figure out what it is. So like I am trying currently to grow on Instagram and YouTube. Those are the two I'm really focusing on. So each of the platforms, so whatever platform you want to get on, I highly suggest that you do a really deep dive into creators that have been in whatever platform and been paid from said platform. If there are creators that will talk about it, I know there are some that do talk about it online, and I hope that there's in the future more transparency, because I think it just makes sense to have more transparency. But I obviously know that in the beginning, it's not going to be transparent. It's going to fall very much kind of like the way that we saw Airbnb. Everything was towards the customer, and then eventually Airbnb started to fall back towards the hosts, and now we see like a swing and a shift back to it being more about customer focus, not host focus. And I think you have to swing both sides of the pendulum to understand what the middle ground is and how both can be successful on your platform. So I hope that as people come out and talk about how much they're getting paid for videos and ads and things like that, we'll have more transparency and people will actually understand how to price themselves and what to do for each of these platforms, because each platform is going to be different based on the fact that each of these platforms have very, 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 let me say it again, very different algorithms. So being able to put a branded partnership on Instagram versus TikTok versus YouTube are all very different, and they're all targeting a different audience. Now you can have very similar content but across those things, but the people that are actually going to watch that content is going to be different across every single platform, and that's just because that's how the platform is. So let me give an example. Just one for myself. I follow Kelty O'Connor on YouTube. I love watching her stuff on YouTube. They're quick, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes they're even 45 minutes. And I watch them on YouTube. I watch them on my big screen while I'm typically baking bread. That's when I watch Kelty O'Connor. But I also follow her on Instagram, but I don't see that much of her content because I don't interact with that much of her content, because it's short snippets of the things that I've already seen on her YouTube. So I don't typically interact with it because I don't need to see it again. But she does post other things on there that are on her story, and I will interact with those things because those things are a bit more personal. They're not necessarily about her brand or something like that. And she does still post things on her Instagram that aren't necessarily focused on like pulling something from her YouTube. They're more focused on other things, more personal things, which is exactly what you should be doing on Instagram. So very much her audience is probably different. They're probably similar, like someone like me who similarly watches her YouTube and is following her on Instagram, but it doesn't mean that I actually interact with that content. There are going to be different people that want to see her quick snippets of her running shoes, or what's the other thing that she just recently did that I really liked? Oh, like her Pilates for 30 days. Like, people are going to want to see those things, but not everybody wants to watch a full video. Sometimes they just want like, here are the top 3 things I learned from doing Pilates for 30 days, you know, and she'll do a quick little video like that, where for me, I sit down and I watch the whole thing because I enjoy her process of going through those things. So your audience is going to be different on every single one of these platforms, which means that the brands and the partnerships that you get, even from ads, is all going to be very different across all of your platforms. That's not a bad thing, by the way. That's actually a very good thing. You want to have a little bit of diversity, but just make sure that when you're first starting out, you learn to focus on one thing, because you will get so overwhelmed. And I think that was my initial problem on Instagram when I first kind of got started with my social media business. I wanted to be on every platform. So I was trying so hard to grow like Instagram, TikTok, my Twitter, my Threads, my podcast, like all of these things. And I genuinely needed to just focus on the one thing that was going to be my, if all else fails, I will only post on this one platform this week, today, tomorrow, whatever it is. And I recognize that that was pressure I put on myself that no one else told me I needed to do. Sure, like gurus and experts all were like, no, you need to do this. Yeah, you need to do that when you have a following. But when you're first starting out, you don't need to do that. You need to focus on the one thing that is most important to you, and whatever platform that is. So right now, I focus on Instagram for the first 3 weeks. This week was my first week. Actually, that's a lie. Last week I posted a YouTube video, but this week I got heavy into posting on YouTube Shorts as well. I basically was just taking my content from Instagram and repurposing it for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. However, keep in mind that does take time. I don't want to lie to you and tell you that that was the easiest thing that I did this week, because it was not. every platform has a different character requirement as well as a different attention span. So someone watching something on Instagram, it might stick around for a 3-minute video, but somebody on TikTok who doesn't know me is probably not going to stick around for a 3-minute video, as well as they're not going to stick around and they're not going to read my caption. So I need to keep it short and sweet to what is actually being said in my video. So I did only post a 7-second video, and I'm going to use today as a perfect example. I posted a 7-second video this morning. It was very quick. It was very bulleted. And the caption on Instagram was, I think, roughly, it had to have been over 500 characters because I couldn't post it to Threads immediately. I had to go and edit it, which when I edit it for TikTok, posted also on Threads, right? Did I post on Threads? I think I posted it on Threads too. Now I'm like, oh God, did I? With the same caption, a very shortened, condensed version of what I posted on Instagram. But then when I also took that same exact video and posted it on YouTube Shorts, you only have 100 characters. So I had to even take what I had shortened to TikTok, shorten it even more on YouTube. That overall this morning, from start to finish of editing the video, finding the footage, editing the video, putting the text on screen, finding the right audio, and posting the right caption for all 3 platforms took me an hour this morning. An hour. Will not lie to you and tell you that it was easy, because it's not. And I'm sure as time goes on, I'll be able to be better and get better about these things. But that is the reality. When I see people post things online that's like, oh, do 60 reels in under a minute, I'm like, wow, you're so full of shit. Because you are lying to your audience and telling them that they can do this in 60 seconds. 60 videos in 60 seconds. I saw that today, which just really pissed me off. And I didn't even click on the video because it made me that mad. I don't think that experts and gurus are the people that you should necessarily listen to when you are first starting out. I think you need to find people that have either recently grown to a large following so they understand what it's like to be where you are, or find people that are also in the middle of the fucking shit growing with you. Because I don't think that it's helpful to follow people like that necessarily. I think in short, it is to just watch it and be like, oh, that's good information. But when somebody says something as easy as a hack for let's make 60 videos in 60 seconds, please know that that is not for you. You will not find the ease and the grace that they do, because they also probably have an entire team behind them. Let's also keep that in mind. You are a one-man team. I am a one-man team. Let's work together to create systems and habits and joy in all of this, because we do not have the same privilege that those people do. Not saying that one day we won't, and we won't forget about being down here, but we don't have that same luxury that they do. Okay, we're going to move on. Because I just went on a rant about that. That was not in my notes, but I just went on a rant about that because I saw it this morning and it made me angry. The next thing I want to talk about is my reasons for actually wanting to get on social media and post. I want to post motivational content that makes you want to do things that you've been putting off, mixed in with a little bit of my personal life, my own journey, and a little bit of us learning together. Okay. That's what I want to show up and how I want to show up online. You will probably have random videos of me just doing random shit, and that's okay. I started a series on Instagram and abandoned it, which was part whatever of 30 things I wish I knew while going through my quarter life crisis. And I loved that series in the beginning for the first 4 videos, but by the time I got to video number 5, I felt like I was struggling. So I guess I probably should have roped that into the top 5 things I wish I knew while going through my quarter life crisis. Now that I say this and I'm talking about it right here, that would be a really easy, quick video to make to sum up that 30-part series I thought I was going to do. 30 parts is so long. 30 parts is 30 weeks. It's 30 weeks. It takes me a day to film it, and then it takes me at least a few hours to edit and add text on screen and captions and all of that stuff. And luckily, I have been very lucky that I just do a simple video of me unpacking groceries every week, because that is easier than trying to go out and physically film whatever it is, that thing that I'm talking about, because that takes way too long. And as someone who doesn't have that much time, not in the cards. And that's okay. So now that we've gone over all of that, let's jump into the rules of the challenge. Rule number 1, you have to post one post to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Substack, or Threads. That's me right now. Piece of advice: post to one of those a day. And if all else fails and you don't post to the others, that's fine, but pick the platform. Pick the one platform you're going to post every day. For me, Instagram. I post to Instagram without fail every single day. I also interact on my stories, all of those things. Post to whatever platform it is once a day. I chose Instagram as the one and only. I also try to take and repurpose that content to TikTok and YouTube, but it does not always work out because I don't always have enough time. And that's okay, but I at least posted that content to Instagram. 2, document one behind the scenes moment. This I have been really utilizing because I feel like my creativity has been running out just because I haven't been devoted to spending time on it. I've been devoted to a lot of other things that are going on in my life at this very moment, and that is okay. So I'm falling back on this because I'll use it the next day for like a CapCut video or a quick little video of me talking over it, doing like that sort of stuff, you know? Engage for 30 minutes. 4, you have to plan tomorrow's content. So most of the time when I'm actually documenting my behind the scenes content, I'm actually already in my head planning tomorrow's content. And I usually I can show you. Actually, I can't because this isn't my template and I don't want to take away from that person's work. So I won't be showing you my Notion template because it's 2 people that I bought templates off of and then actually like edited myself. But the base of the template is there. So I'm not going to actually show that as much as I want to, so you guys understand how my brain works when I do these things, but that's okay. So I will make a little post and I will do like what I am thinking for tomorrow's video. I kind of like sketch it out. Oh my God, you can tell I'm an artist. I kind of like draft it out and leave that there and then come back to it later, sometimes later that night and sometimes the next day with the actual full-fledged, like, okay, this is what we're definitely posting today. And it doesn't usually take me that long because I've already drafted out the idea in my head, or at least a couple ideas, and then I can just run with whatever it's going to be. So today I took a time lapse of me ironing clothes. It's the perfect way to just have backup content, and I will take that and I put it into a folder on my phone called B-roll. Do I have a lot of A-roll? No. Do I care to have a lot of A-roll right now? Also, no. I'm not trying to do a ton of these talking head videos. They're not for me at this very moment. Sometimes I have some really great ideas and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, oh, let me throw that out there. So I will record something really quick. But most of the time the answer is no. This is not meant for me. This is not where I'm at currently. Doesn't mean that I won't get here eventually, but I'm not there right now and I'm okay with that. So that was number 4. Number 5 is track and analyze. So actually I usually do this every morning before I even start any content. I open up my Metricool, I look at all my metrics and I see like, okay, did that video perform well yesterday? What do my views look like? What are my interactions? What's my reach look like? And right now for me, a lot of what I care about is my reach and my views. Like, how many people did it get shown to that wasn't a part of my following? How many minutes were actually watched of the video of the people that saw the video? Views are big, and I know someone's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you care about views. I am just starting out. Do you know that the video I posted on YouTube with a couple of YouTube short videos that I've posted recently has gotten me like 2,400 views on YouTube in 1 week, where on Instagram for the last 3 weeks, I've had 6,000 views in a month, 3 weeks. I think technically it is a month. It falls back to like a month, like a full month when I look at the analytics. So in 1 month on Instagram, I have done 2,400 views. On Instagram, I've done 6,000 views in 1 month. In 1 week, I have done 2,400 views on YouTube. That is insane. Insane. I feel like that means I'm going to outpace myself in 1 month on YouTube than I will on Instagram. I just have to keep going, and I know that, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm taking a lot of looks when I do track and analyze my analytics. I look at what's been performing well of my videos, and I try to replicate that at least once that week. So I have one video that went, in my mind, for me, viral. I got 654 views, which is a lot for me as a small creator who only has 65 followers, to get 654 views, which I think it told me 98% of those were people that don't follow me. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure it was, because I don't have that many followers. So on YouTube, I probably will outpace myself on Instagram. What I was saying was, I take that viewership of like what was the most viewed and then what was also the most interacted with. And interactions don't always have to be like likes. They could be saves and shares and things like that. Like people sharing it to their stories, or people sharing it to a friend, or saving it for later so they can find the audio or do a similar video. Save it to like now that Instagram has like edits and like places that you can save videos to like have a storyboard or a mood board or I don't even know, what do you want to call it, a creative board to like look at. Now that Instagram does that, people save those sort of things. So I look at those two things and then see which ones are like at the highest, and I try to replicate that video once a week. So this past week, I did that same video that was the 654 views, was a like short video with some text on screen. So I was like, oh, well, let me repeat that this week. So, and I did that one 2 weeks ago, and it's still, the views are still kind of climbing on it, but at a much slower pace than the first, like, I would say 3 days of me originally posting the video. So I decided, I was like, well, last time, let me see how well it does this time. And we'll see. I posted it today. I haven't looked at analytics or interactions or anything like that. So far for the rest of today, I will look at that probably tomorrow, or I'll check in when I have finished dinner and I'm lounging on the couch. So after track and analyze, thing number 6 of the rules is read 10 pages or watch 30 minutes of social media marketing. So I've already watched 30 minutes of social media marketing today. Most days I am typically reading 10 pages because I am in the middle of reading Grit by Angela Duckworth. And I read that a lot while I'm at work. I am technically a week behind because I'm supposed to be on a new book this week, but last week I was finding it really hard to like stay focused and concentrate on what I was reading. So I did do a lot of video watching last week of social media marketing, which is fine. Both are okay, obviously, because I wrote them down. So rule number 7 is to answer 3 journal questions. And the 3 journal questions that I answer are, what did I create today? What felt hard or easy? And what inspired me? I don't always have a what inspired me for the day. Sometimes the simple what inspired me was a CapCut template, or, oh, I saw someone's post on Instagram. It gave me an idea, so I ran with it. Those sort of things. What did I create today? I put that in there as a way for me to reflect on how I actually felt about the content I was creating, and if it made me feel good, if it felt like it was aligned with what I wanted to do, those sort of things. So I really tried to hone it down to only 3 questions, because I know myself well enough that if I'm asked too much, not going to do it. So I have been answering it, and I've actually just been answering it in my Google Calendar that I can actually show you. I have just been answering it in my Google Calendar. I click edit, I answer it real quick, either that night when I'm going to bed or the next morning after I look at my analytics. I'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta write my little journal prompts. So I go into that the day before and I write my stuff down. That just helps me reflect with how I'm feeling overall with social media, as well as where I'm feeling creatively, and tracking how I'm actually doing and feeling and all of these things. All right, so let's talk about what I have found that has been really easy about this challenge and what I found that's been really hard about this challenge. The things that I have found really easy about this challenge has actually been my consistency to show up every morning, which is very surprising because I thought that was going to be the hardest part. But I think what makes that part easy is the fact that there are things like edits and CapCut and InShot that have all of these templates of other people, that when I feel like I'm having one of those days, or I feel like I need something that's going to resonate better with my audience than what I originally thought was going to, because I might do a review and it doesn't quite hit the way it's supposed to, I can grab a quick CapCut video, take some B-roll, throw it all together, and fire out a video. And I don't ever feel bad about doing that. I've actually fell back on that a lot because I wasn't feeling creative. I also think I wasn't giving myself enough grace to be creative and give myself enough time to be creative. So that's definitely been a really big thing for me, is making sure that I allow myself to be bored and have the time. Because I think sometimes I'll just like scroll. And I think we all do it. We come home, we think that that's our relaxation is just to like scroll. And then we come to find out that it didn't actually do what we anticipated it was going to do, help us relax. So I have definitely been working on the social media disconnect. I think that might be the part that I have found hard, has been not letting my obsession with this new thing take over and allow myself the space to feel like I can fail. Not even fail, but I can have flopped videos that don't perform well, and that has nothing to do with my self-worth, which is sometimes hard when you're trying to be a creator online. You want to have these really big moments and things that matter, and you have to take it seriously. You have to make sure that these things do matter, and simultaneously make sure that you don't tie them to your own self-worth, because it is such a way of putting yourself forward. I hope that made sense, because I didn't write that. I put my iPad down because I'm talking this out with y'all. So I think that has been a hard part of this, is learning that just because right now I'm obsessed with it, it does not mean that it has to be all consuming when I'm not working on it. And now don't get me wrong, being obsessed with something is not a bad thing. Being obsessed with something is actually like a really good thing, because then you can be obsessed with it and you can be good at it, and then you can get good at it. Not even be good, but you can get good at it, you know? Now, I know I also said I was going to talk about what's working and what's not working. Let's dive into that next. The thing that I think is working is short form videos are back, and the algorithm's loving it. I think people's attention span, especially as summer is coming, where I'm from personally, is getting shorter, because people just want to watch a short clip and then be able to like get outside and go enjoy the weather. I mean, not where I'm at today, considering it's going to be 100 in like an hour. I don't know that it actually will. I think it might be coming down now. It says it's 97 outside. So I feel as though as summer is coming, people are falling back into that like short clip, because they just want to like watch a short clip and be able to get back to like going out with friends or going outside or doing things that are not on their phone. Whereas I feel like in the winter months, and now this is just me because this might be what I do personally, is the longer form content. They want to watch a good movie, watch a good vlog on the TV. But as the weather looks so gorgeous outside, people want to be outside. So they decide to watch shorter form content at the moment. It's giving very much TikTok 2020 when it was like just a bunch of short form, like quick videos, which is totally fine and honestly makes my life easier right now because I can just use those quick CapCut templates. However, I think what's not working is, weirdly enough, hashtags. I feel like when I put a hashtag on a video, and this is specifically for Instagram, feel like when I put a hashtag on a video, it does worse than when I don't put a hashtag and I just focus on making sure that the content of the video and of the caption are quick little information bites. And that's just what I've noticed in the last like 3 weeks. Maybe very different as time goes on. So maybe I'll do an update video like every other week about this, or maybe I'll do like a YouTube short about quick little update about how this is going. So I don't feel like I can make it a full video, and I don't know that I want to make every other week's video something about this, because I want to talk also about motivation and like where I'm struggling and where other people have succeeded in their motivation and what motivation looks like and what's the difference between motivation and discipline and habits. I think all those things are important to discuss when you are trying to be someone who wants to just motivate people to do the things that they keep telling themselves they're going to do and then they don't show up. Because I am that person, was that person, and am still working through being that old version of me, which is so scary sometimes. Can we just talk about fear for probably 5 minutes? I was going to say a minute, but let's be real. It's going to be probably 5 minutes. I think fear is something that consumes us so much, and it has been evolutionarily part of our lives per se, and is so important to some portions of our lives, like not going to the woods when we know it's hunting season without having orange on, or going into bear infested woods that we know like, oh, it's bear mating season, let's like go out there, not doing dumb shit. I think it's good for that. I think where fear is not good and shame is not good is when we start applying it to ourselves, our personal selves, on things that either one, we couldn't control, or two, was something that we did out of a sense of survival. And I guess the best way to talk about this is via my own example. For the last 2 years, I've had a really horrible relationship with my body. And I have felt such shame about it, and such a push-pull relationship with exercising and eating and being healthy and wellness, which is originally how I started trying to show up, was someone who was going to be like a wellness girly, only to realize that I hadn't yet worked through my own wellness problems and started to work through those, and realized for the last 2 years I have felt such shame around my body and such fear around not being skinny that it stopped me from doing a lot of things. And that fear is quite literally unnecessary, because that doesn't serve me in a productive manner. I think, yes, I know that being slightly overweight as I am, and somebody in the comments is either going to be like, oh my God, you're so fat, or oh my God, girl, you're not so fat. So both of you I appreciate, because one is someone else's perspective of me. Actually, both of them are someone else's perspective of me, and both are totally valid. And I appreciate both perspectives, because I have been on both sides of the spectrum of like, oh my God, I didn't put weight on. And then I go to put on shorts that I wore 2 years ago, and I go, I can't even get those girls up my thighs. They stop right there. Let's be real. But I had a horrible relationship and I've definitely been working on it, and I feel better about myself as I've come to just accept that this is where I'm at in my life, and I'm allowed to be here, but I'm also allowed to not necessarily be happy about it, and I can change those circumstances if I wanted to. I have full power, I have full control, but fear is so fucking crazy because it stops us from doing so many things. Because I have this fear that, like, oh my God, what if I do lose a bunch of weight? Is my spouse not going to love me anymore? Am I going to become like obsessed with it that I forget about everything else? Am I not focusing on it because I don't want to, or because I think I deserve the way that I am right now? There are so many of those like little spiral moments that I am working through and coming to a healthier relationship with myself and my body that was all stemmed in fear, which is wild when you actually think about it. I don't even know where I was going with that story or why. But just remember that fear can only control you if you let it. So I was watching somebody, and they're vloggers that I've watched since 2020, probably even before that. I think I probably started watching them in like 2019, maybe in 2018, because I think 2018 is when I finally decided I was going to go vegan. So I probably found them 2018, 2019. No, I'm no longer vegan. That was fun to be that for a little while, but I had to fall back for health reasons. So now I like rediscovered them. I felt like I kind of like fell off of whatever they were doing because I was following a bunch of other creators, which is fine. Like, we all go through our phases of who we follow, who we don't follow, what we listen to, what we don't listen to. And when I refound them, they were talking about Joe Dispenza, which I know he's like a very, very popular like meditation kind of guru and mindset kind of guru. And she was just talking about how fear is just the opposite of love, and we just need to fill that space of fear with love. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful thing. Makes me want to look more into this Joe Dispenza. Please forgive me for saying that so wrong, but I know that most of you know who I'm talking about. If you've ever done any sort of meditation or been in like self-help spaces, I feel like you've probably heard this name or seen him a time or two. And it makes me want to explore more of what he talks about, because fear quite literally is kind of the opposite of love, which is crazy if we think about it that way. But anyway, before I go on a whole like spiritual rant, let's wrap this up real quick so I can go have a spiritual rant by myself or with my bestie, and you guys can get back to the nitty gritty of the 75 hard social media challenge. So let's recap. I told you why I started. I want you to figure out why you started. Do it. Figure out what made you want to do this and what is leading you to your next big thing. Number 2, we talked about all the rules on all the platforms and what all these platforms require you to like make money and to find the freedom that we're all looking for. I told you why I was really into this, which is I want to post motivational stuff to get people to do the things that they say they're going to do that they haven't been doing. Mixed with, little personal stuff, a little bit about like, what am I learning on this journey? And can we help each other, please? Okay, cool. And then the rules. 1, post to your main platform. 2, document one behind the scenes moment. 3, engage for 30 minutes. 4, plan tomorrow's content. 5, track and analyze. 6, read 10 pages or watch 30 minutes of social media marketing. And number 7, answer 3 journal questions. And then, of course, we went over what was easy, what was hard, and what is working and what isn't working. Please let me know in the comments if you decide to do this challenge, because I'd be really interested to get your feedback. And how did it work for you? What did you change for yourself? And what is your end goal and your journey for starting a 75 hard social media challenge? Tell me everything you want in the comments. I'm here to listen. But whatever you do, don't stop your daydreaming, and we'll see you next time.